That won't hurt.
No, not at all.
All
And
right.
if that's the case, just say hi. We're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
All right. And live on Facebook? What are you called again?
podcast. We're doing a live podcast.
Just a live podcast. That's all I got to say. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, cool. So we are live right now, and yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to the podcast. We're here with Charlie Valier, and he is over in Naubinway, Michigan, at the top of the Lakes Snowmobile Museum. How you doing, Charlie?
Oh, we're doing bright and early.
Good.
Had a little frost this morning, 28 degrees. We're ready for snowmobile season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it won't be long. It won't be long at all.
No.
Well, cool. So, Charlie, tell us about this museum. Are you the founder of the museum, or is this your museum?
I'm one of the founders. We started in 07 with the help from the community and other snowmobile enthusiasts, but we are the ones that run it and keep it going and do all that. It's our hobby.
Wonderful. Very cool. So since 2007, you've been doing this?
Yes. Well, I've been doing it a lot longer than that. I started doing snowmobiles when I got out of the Army in 1971. I talked my dad into being a Viking dealer. So he became a Viking dealer. So the 8 of us kids could get Vikings at cost. And it's been a passion ever since.
Wow. So you've never stopped?
Never stopped. No.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. So you've accumulated a significant collection of your own, I'm sure.
Yes, I've got a bunch of my collection here at the museum, but I still have another 150 sleds at home. Can't have all of mine in here.
Sure.
So yeah, we have a great mixture of sleds. We have 185 sleds in the museum. We're about the history of snow sledding. So that's why we can't have all of mine. We have to have a mixture of sleds because we're about.
Sure. So let's do this, Charlie. If you feel like turning your camera around, that way we can get a better look of what's going on there in the museum, and you can give us a walking tour and talk up what we're looking at. And to the viewers who are watching this, if you have comments or questions for Charlie, just leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll read that to Charlie, and hopefully we'll get an answer for you.
Sure. All right. My technology pulled through.
Yes.
All right. I got to show you something up here on the wall, what we start with.
Okay.
Walking back into the gift shop. We'll talk about that later. But up on the wall here we have where the history of snowmobiling comes to life.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about is the history of snowmobiling. And we start with this first thing right here. It looks like a toboggan, as you can see, and it's called the Eliason Power Toboggan.
Yeah.
Made in St. Louis, Wisconsin. He's been blessed with the first manufactured snow sled. You can see it's got an Indian motorcycle engine on it. He built his first one in 1924 in St. Louis, Wisconsin, and then the military wanted to buy 200 in 1939. He couldn't produce the 200, so he contracted with the four-wheel drive company out of Clintonville, Wisconsin, to build the first 200 for the military. So he's been blessed with the first manufactured snow sled.
Yeah.
There's stuff being made then, one of a kind stuff, but this is where it started.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Very cool.
And then of course we got all colors and kinds, and we tell people when they come into the museum that this section right here I'm looking at now, there's a Polaris and there's a Polar and a Fox Track and right here in this community, Naubinway, we're called the Top of the Lake Snowmobile Museum because we're at the top of Lake Michigan. So that's why we'll call it Top Lake. So Lake Michigan, commercial fishing, Naubinway is a commercial fishing village, still is today. So back in the early days, you go 2 miles out in Lake Michigan, get 500 pounds of whitefish, or whatever kind of fish, but whitefish are what's here mostly. A way to get them off the ice after the dog sleds and the horses. When these rear engine machines came along, they used these machines right here in this town.
Wow.
Another big use was trappers. The guy with the Eliason, you can see here, he's got snowshoes on there. He wanted to get further into the woods trapping. So that's what he used it for. So trapping, commercial fishing, utility companies was another big use of them. Farmers, loggers, quite a variety of uses.
Yeah.
Of course, what we have today. race.
Yes. It seems that I always thought, as soon as the second snowmobile was made, that's when racing began.
Right. And the we have, it's in the back of the building here. We'll get to that. But remember, here's one right here. This is a homemade. It was made 40 miles from here. It's called an Anderson. Anderson family made 5 of these. My dad this for $5.
$5.
Had no idea what it was. Dad got it running. It's so then we found out what it was, and we found out they made 5 of them. But this has got you can see the beaver in it because they use them for beaver trapping.
Yeah.
So there's just here's one with an ice auger. It's the Trailmaker, 1964 Trailmaker made in Hibbing, Minnesota. This machine came with, well, you can see the wheel go around the front too, but you can see the wheel kit was an option. The snowplow was an option. And this is ice auger here. That was another option for them. I'll go to the front so you can see it from the front. Hope I'm not moving too fast, making somebody dizzy.
Sure. No, that's fine. But you're right. In the early days, it was more about utility than recreation, wasn't it?
It was. That's what it started for, was work, utility. That's what it started for. So there's the Trailmaker with the wheel kit, snowplow, and then the ice auger back there. Those were all options for them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. But that's what they were used for, is to work. Here's a Bearcat made in Antigo, Wisconsin. Like 12 or 14 of those were made.
Yeah.
Here's a Snowbug. It was made in Sudbury, Ontario. This version is called the Love Bug, but because you sit side by side in it.
Sure.
They made different versions. Back on the wheel kit stuff here, this is a Scatmobile made in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
This wheel kit or the skis. So this was kind of your forerunner to the four-wheelers that we have today.
Sure.
And then you can see some over here. This is the back end of a Timberwolf. It's 2 tracks. I'll go around the front of it also. It was made in Sioux, Michigan, which is 60 miles from here. They only made 8 of these. We know of 2. Okay, here's the front of it. It's called the Timberwolf. It's a cool sled. It was the pace sled at the Sioux I-500 in 1970. This sled right here.
That very sled.
That very sled, yes. I can show a picture. I don't know if you can see it or not. But right here is a real photo of it right there. That's Dr. Zabelka. That's the actual photo from 1970.
Wow.
Yes. I was telling you, they made 8 of them.
8 of them.
8 of them. We found this one in a rock pile. We have they made a race version also. Right here's the race version. I'll show you a picture of that.
Oh, yes.
That's the race version.
Yeah.
That's home in my garage.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's home in my garage. So we know of these 2 machines.
Yeah.
One and the one in my garage. We also, I tracked one down. It went to a crusher in Sioux, Canada. And then the other one, Dr. Robinson in Sioux, it actually burnt in he had a garage fire and it burnt. So we know where these 2 are. We know 2 that were destroyed. So there's still 4 more left out there. Wow. It'd be cool. I've been looking, can't find them.
Yeah.
Tracked them down.
We'll put it out there to the viewers as well. If anyone knows the whereabouts of any of these sleds, these 4 remaining sleds, please be in touch.
Here's this is what it was called, Timberwolf by Northport, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Yeah. That's old photos from 1970.
Very nice.
And we took this around the Sioux I-500 track in 2013. We got it restored, and my granddaughter and I took it around the Sioux I-500 track. The Sioux I-500 track is the only 1-mile ice oval in North America. It's kind of cool. It's a 500-mile enduro race.
Yeah.
If people have heard about it, but here, I'll try. I don't know if this picture is going to show. Here's the original at the Sioux I-500 in 1970. And there's my granddaughter and I going around it.
Yeah.
2013.
Very cool.
Quite a project to restore.
I'll bet it was.
All right. Where else are we at here? Here's a Foremost, J.C. Penney's Foremost.
Yeah.
You can tell it looks like an Artie Cat, but it was sold by J.C. Penney's and called a Foremost.
Very cool.
We got all kinds of stuff like that in here. Here's a McCullough, and right next to it is a Foxtrack. You can see they're identical except for the paint colors.
Yeah.
McCullough or Foxtrack made them for McCullough.
Gotcha.
Here's a Massey Ferguson. This Massey Ferguson here has got a lot better paint job on it than when it was new. The guy restored it and he did a beautiful job. Like I said, the paint is a whole lot better than they had when it was new.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Right above, this is supposedly the smallest snow sled made. It's called a Wheelark, and right next to it is Ski Lark, his bigger brother.
Huh.
They were made in California by the Larkin Aircraft Company.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. I don't know. The John Deere helmet sitting there right by it too.
Oh yeah, nice.
Gotta have that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, here's an original Toboggan. When they were made in Canada, they were called Toboggans and painted a wheat gold. And then right next to it over here is the same thing, but it was called a Polaris Snow Traveler. Same, painted different color, but this was Minnesota. This was Canada. Same thing.
So there are a lot of private labeling going on back in the early days.
Yeah, you know, of course the catalog stores, they all did it.
Sure.
Home Light. I'm going to show you this Thunderbolt before I get out of this area. This is a Thunderbolt. Is one of two made. Yes, wow. Made. And we have it right here. Next to it is a Shark, and here's an ambulance too. This is from a volunteer fire department, upgraded and got a new one. This is like in the 80s ambulance sled.
Yeah. One
of the girls that work here, actually, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like some guy laying in it someplace. That's what you don't want to be in. You want to. Yeah. We have the Model T before we get in the back section.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Model T with a track conversion kit on it. And this is where the word snowmobile came from. This was in Ossipee, New Hampshire, is where this was made in 1917. Can't see it, but right there is this tag on it saying it. So it was called a snowmobile conversion kit. And then later years, they were made in Wisconsin. Snowbirdie and Snowflyer made them.
Yeah.
The different track conversion kits.
Sure.
Here's the three versions of the Raider. Raider was made down by Detroit.
Yeah.
Michigan. So they started with that in the 70s. Then they went to the Manta in the 80s. Then they actually made the Trail Roamer in 2001. Not very many Trail Roamers were sold. Few Mantas around, but Raider was their more popular one. So we have all three versions.
Now that middle one, do I see Mario Andretti's name on there? Are my eyes playing tricks on me?
Yes, they, of course, right there it is.
Wow.
And that's Bob Bracey, the founder of these three versions. Everybody used Mario Andretti, for advertising. So in front of it, we also have Mario Andretti here too, on an Artie Cat. So he was on a cat, but there he was on a Manta.
Nice.
A few other sleds too.
Very cool.
Here's another cool thing. It's a Finn Cat, made in Sweden. I'll get into this story right here too. I see this on it. This sled here, as you can see, this snowmobile was gifted as Top Lake Snowmobile from Bombardier in Velcourt, Quebec. 3-4 years ago, Bombardier was redoing their museum to honor the man Bombardier. So what they did was they were looking for some place to get rid of the non-Bombardier product. There's another one right there. There's another one right there. Back on that story. Okay, so they were going to redoing their museum in Velcourt, Quebec. They were looking for somewhere to get rid of these 33 sleds. We emailed them and told them, yes, we'd be interested. They emailed back and said, sorry, we'd rather give them to somebody in Canada. So we kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
A year later, they emailed us back and said, want to know if we were still interested in these 33, the way they said it, unique sleds. So of course we said yes. went to what we have a 10-person board here. Went to our board and we agreed to accept the 33 sleds. There was there is a contract written up about it. It was probably a 6-month contract, back and forth, but we got 33 sleds from Bombardier. They chose this museum to give 33 sleds to. So that's very cool. Yes, we're patting
That's an honor, yeah.
So what was the rest of that story? Anyway, we got 33 sleds from them. They're scattered throughout. So, that's what I was going to say. Some of these sleds we wouldn't be able to have, like this Fin Cat. It came from them. There's no way we'd be able to have that sled here if it wouldn't have been for Bombardier donated. And here's another kind of cool, this Okaba. We'd never be able to have something like that here, but another one.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the agreement was that anything that came from Bombardier had to have that symbol on the oval on the front of it. That's their wording and everything.
Sure.
They wanted, it's part of the contract we had.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's a cool tent. Made in down in Michigan by Lansing. It was called a Carefree. It was, you pulled it on a sleigh. It was a pop-up. It all fit right inside of this. It folded up down just like a pop-up camper would be.
Wow. For ice fishing, probably?
For ice fishing or camping. We have the version. You can, there's a little, we've got a mannequin and a little kid sitting there fishing.
Yeah.
So now we're back into so when we got the 33 sleds from Bombardier, we had to put on this edition. So we actually called it the Bombardier Edition. So this was added on about 4 or 5 years ago.
Sure. What's this machine to your right? If you could back up a little bit, there was a machine right there. What is that?
All right. That's a cool one.
Yeah.
It's a Mercury. 1976, Mercury went out of business. The engineer, Gary Gilbertson, had worked on this machine for 3 years. He's still around. I've talked to him. He's been here. The story is that he worked on it for 3 years. He wanted it strictly for oval racing. And his version was go fast, turn left. Yeah. That's all he do. And he didn't want to let off on the corners like other guys were having to let off in the corners. He didn't want that. Sure. He wanted to be able to spin around the corners and not let off. But so he worked on it 3 years. And then Mercury, 1976, they quit making snowmobiles. I'll tell you that story here in a minute, but I want to show you how, remember, go fast, turn left. See the cleats on this one? They're full length. Over on the other track, they're every other one is a full length one. That was part of his design. And also you can see here, one has a steel tie rod, one has an aluminum tie rod. He said that's because he flipped it one time, testing it. We have video of it being test driven. It's really light. You can pick up the front. I'm going to show you how easy it is. It's just super light to pick up. We took it out to Waconia, Minnesota, when Waconia is the big snowmobile show. We took it out to Waconia about 3 or 4 years ago when Mercury was the featured sled. And all these guys with the twisters, the twisters. Everybody thought of the twisters. Well, some of these guys they said, out to Waconia, they have a ballroom. And that's where they put the featured sled. So I had all these twisters, and we had this sitting there. And what is that doing here? What is that thing? These twister guys, what is that thing? Well, it's a Mercury. And Gary Gilbertson, the engineer, was there. So we let him tell the story about he worked on it 3 years and then they pulled the plug. The Hayes brothers, they raced Mercury. I got to go back over here and show you the 68 Mercury, what they started with. So the Hayes brothers, they won the Suai 500 in 1976. Remember, that was the only 1 mile ice oval in North America, 500-mile enduro run. He was in here. But he's been here several times. So I says, what's the story I'm hearing about this Mercury is that Mercury wasn't making any money on the snowmobile, but they were going to make money on their outboard motor. And I said, so they pulled the plug on the snowmobiles because it wasn't making any money. They needed the room for the outboard motor. his thought or his version was they weren't making enough money. They were making money on snowmobiles, but not enough. Okay, so much for that. Here's what Mercury started with in 1968. They made 400 sleds. It has a chainsaw motor in it. That's why the two-man chainsaw is right there. It's a two-man chainsaw. So they put that two-man chainsaw motor, Mercury Kefauver motor, in this sled. It wasn't any good. It didn't get enough air. It would burn pistons. I had one. It, burned pistons if you run it at all. But it's quite the design. So they went from 1968 to this, to the Twisters in 1976 and winning the Suai 500. I'm going to go back over here and show you a Twister now. Here's our Mercury Twister. So they went for that chainsaw motor Mercury to this Mercury, 1968 to this is a 75 we have. But that's quite an accomplishment, how far they went. All right, enough on the Mercuries, right? We'll go into some more oddball stuff. Here's another one-of-a-kind outfit. Here's a Hornet. They only made a dozen of these or less, made in Minnesota. Here's another one we got from Canada, made in Russia. Oh, I got it. Maryland wants something. What? You're not. Okay, what?
He called. He lost internet connection, so it's not being recorded anymore. So he's going to call you back when he gets his internet back.
Our internet went down?
No, his. I said, Ira, he's still talking. You hear? Huh? No.
Okay, so I can quit talking.
Go get a drink of water.
Huh?
Go get a drink of water.
Yeah, I guess. Do I got to go out of here?
John was going to bring the phone to you. I didn't know who it was. It was John.
So do I just close out of here?
I don't know if you have service or not.
I'll just close out.
Yeah. Since our Wi-Fi's on.
What?
Since our Wi-Fi's on.
Ours is his then?
Yeah,
So on?
yeah, he said it was his. He called this number.
Because that's what I call. Come on.
Oh.
One of ours or?
That's the only one. I thought we'd have those big orders, but that's the only one.
Oh. Well, that's easy. There's a bunch of those in the back room. Boxes of them. Rack cards. I put them, because there was 3 or 4 boxes, I just put them in the back room. Is that all we got for mail? What? Yeah.
appreciate it. Email new service.
Yeah.
And I tried to recall.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Good morning. You again?
Me again. Yeah, I'm gonna figure that out.
You're fine.
Get it figured out.
We don't know our schedule really either.
Huh?
Yeah, our schedule's day to day too.
Yeah,
But I know
mine
it's
really is. I'm craving routine. My
Oh.
schedule is literally day to day.
Yeah.
Like I did all of my shopping for my planned week of baking, right? Then I get more orders. Even on my drive to Manistee this morning.
You been to Manistee and back already?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, because I got more orders, so I had to go back for more supplies.
So your cupcake outfit is working out. Cool. Right here in little Naubinway.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
You just have to want to do it and do it.
Yeah.
Instead of
I haven't
sitting-
let anybody down, that's for sure. The gluten-free ones turned out really well. She was
Oh,
super
good.
impressed.
Awesome.
That flour. Did I tell you how expensive that flour is?
No.
3 pounds is $12.50.
Oh,
3 pounds is $12.50. That's a lot. I mean,
yeah.
when
What is
even-
regular flour? I don't know what
Well, depends if it's on sale. Anywhere from say $3 to $6 for 5 pounds. So you paid $12.50.
Hmm.
She loved them though. She was super happy. But like, this is amazing. Okay, great.
Whatever you know.
Right.
There you go.
So you're meeting with Laura again?
No, I'm just coming.
Oh,
to
you're
work
just
on
coming
the
to do
books. Yeah. That list that she had me print, it's something that she does quarterly or annually.
Quarterly.
Quarterly. So I'm gonna go through and figure that out because I don't think that one is supposed to be a sales receipt. I think it's supposed to be an invoice, and I can fix that.
The end of the month, I always run something like this off. And this is the only one I know how to do.
It's under reports.
It's called the profit loss statement. I know how to do that. But would you be able to do graphs and stuff like that? You know how to do that?
I can figure that out, yeah.
Okay.
But whenever I'm done fixing what I'm trying to fix, that's gonna be different. This.
Oh, we don't need it
What do you
now.
Whenever I'm done fixing what I'm supposed to be, this list I'm fixing, it'll change this.
The numbers.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't need it now.
Now, before I get busy, I got a question.
Sure.
Is the printer a color printer?
Yes.
Can I print my labels and business cards and then give the museum a donation so I don't have to drive to Engadine?
Yes.
I had a
And
guy.
if you're not printing that much.
I had a guy
It takes 20
yesterday.
pages.
Oh.
Like, well, it's
Yeah.
labels and business cards.
Yeah. A guy yesterday wanted a brochure out of the library printed, so I made a copy for him. He gave me $5.
Oh, I know. I do that. I go to Love Inc. where Aunt Sharon works, and she does it, and then I give Love Inc. a donation. Well, like
Okay.
if I don't have to make an Engadine trip, I'm not going to, because I can't go when I pick the kids up from school because she's already gone. So it would be 2 Engadine trips in a day.
Nice.
I'm gonna go to Engadine twice. So I'm not on the clock yet. I'm gonna figure this out. Printed. Then I'm gonna.
Well, Marilyn knows how to do that. She'll show you. I was supposed to be doing, I did doing a podcast for a guy out in Vermont,
Oh,
and he lost internet connection. I'm glad because I was dry.
so you get a break?
I needed a break. Those campers all, or the campers all show up. So,
The last one here. Oh, there's still 2. Did the other camper
Wow.
see, John?
that was
I
quick.
didn't even look.
For that high for today, 84 for your Saturday, for Friday and Saturday. Kansas City, 72 today, 75 Friday, 76 on Saturday.
Were there 3 campers there?
For today, we're seeing 66.
Yes. I saw him.
I'm gonna borrow this for a second.
You didn't mark it down.
I'll show you so you're a little bit familiar with what I'm doing. So she had me run this report. It's called an aging summary.
That's great to me.
Right. And that's okay.
As long as you understand it.
And I'm gonna run a fresh one. So you're going down the list here, and it's showing basically what it looks like we owe people or what people owe us. So like in this case, the Adobe Hotel, it shows,
We wouldn't owe a gold or anything, would we?
no,
No, they owe us.
right, it shows that they owe $25, and that's true, yes? If that's true, then I have to do nothing with it.
Oh, because of the
But see, like,
ads.
right.
Okay, newsletter. ads.
But see this big one here on events?
Yeah.
This is that exact number of the one that I think is supposed to be an invoice instead of a sales receipt. But I got to go through that because there's some
Well, that's
other,
what you checked on the till. I didn't put it on the till.
right. That's why it needs to be an invoice, not a sales receipt. And that's okay.
Yeah,
I can fix
you
it.
can fix it.
But see all of these up and down through here?
Mhm.
I can fix them. I got to verify them, and if they're incorrect, then fix them. Does that make sense?
And you can do it. You understand it all.
Yeah.
Good. Very good.
She was really happy about that.
I know. I can tell.
She thanked me.
We'll have to give you a raise.
Yeah.
Yes.
She thanked me. I'm like, it's okay. But
Cool.
and probably it's probably just like the PayPal thing. It's probably not as bad as it looks. Like, because I was like, oh my gosh, and that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be
So,
to get through.
how do you want us now the PayPal stuff? Because Christmas time we start getting PayPal orders, and here's the way it comes in. Are these it here now?
No, they're down here.
Where are the PayPal? Right here. Okay.
I
so
saved them.
here's- We saved, yeah. So here's how a PayPal order comes in. This is what we get. This guy wanted a $20 blue ribbon. Did you send this to him?
Must have.
Must have. Okay. Anyway, this is how we get it.
Why
And I
don't
can
you?
ship it and do all that.
And then why don't you just put all of that on my box, and I will enter it.
Okay. So that's all we got to do.
I'd enter it as PayPal sales. That's what
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
doing.
I've got it all so squared away. The PayPal it reconciled perfectly, so I would just throw it in my box. Let
Okay.
me do that, including the switch over or the transfer of funds.
Oh, when I because I do that, that's easy to do. I
Print it,
transfer.
put it in my box. I'll make it happen
Cool.
because I've got to be able to record.
And then
I'll
And
show
then
you the report.
What we do here too, here's this,
to receive and staple
from the bank, from the
post office.
post office. This is what we do here too.
That's fine. I'll take care of it.
And that gets